Citation. Thank you. I'll now call upon Councilman.
Just to clarify, is it always the first district that does the Pledge of Allegiance?
No, just
Okay,
this
just
time.
checking, just checking.
Councilman Young to lead us to the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America. To the republic, stand one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the journal for the meeting of December the 5th?
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
The journal is approved. There are no bills for enrollment this evening. However, I'm going to take a point of privilege to just recognize Ms. Rogers, who was the commencement speaker for the University of Baltimore today. Was that today? All right, fantastic. We thank you so much for representing us well. I saw the pictures. Great job. Great job. Any words of wisdom for us? You have anything left for us?
I told them I had to come back to be at county council meeting.
Okay.
But it was a deep honor. I sat in that same spot as I told them 22 years ago to receive my master's in public administration. And I use my skills and expertise every day.
Well, we thank you so much for your skills and expertise and happy to have you here helping lead Baltimore County to a brighter day. So we thank you. So, Mr. Secretary will now read all bills for introduction this evening. There is no bills for introduction.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Bill 86-22, current expense budget senior care. Bill 87-22, current expense budget forensic DNA backlog reduction. Bill 88-22, current expense budget police wellness initiatives. And Bill 89-22 is a bill sponsored by Councilman Marks, zoning regulations, composting facilities in industrial areas only.
Okay. We'll move on to Mr. Secretary. Now read the bills for this evening.
Yes, sir. First bill for final reading and vote, Mr. Chairman, is Bill 79-22, current expense budget surplus funding family planning and reproductive health.
Mr. Lawrence? And thank you, Mr. Lawrence. And before you get started, I'll just remind people that Councilman Batoka is with us online. So.
Thank
go
you,
ahead.
Mr. Davis.
Sure.
All right. Good evening, Chairman Jones and members of the council. My name is Lawrence Richardson. I serve as the Deputy Director of Finance, Administration, and Operations for Health and Human Services, which includes the Health Department and the Department of Social Services. Today, I'm here to present Bill 7922, which is the administration's request for a supplemental appropriation to our surplus funding family planning and reproductive health grant. The $172,000 supplemental appropriation will be used for programming of our Maryland Department of Health, family planning and reproductive health. The additional funds will be used to hire additional contractual staff, advertise our services, service our clinic equipment, and purchase equipment to help expand our telehealth services, as well as purchase additional medical and office supplies. The reproductive health program within Baltimore County serves a broad range of services beyond just contraception. The services include pregnancy testing, gynecological and breast examinations, screening tests for anemia and rubella, HIV testing, screening and treatment of STIs, and also pap smears and other services, including all prevention of sexual transmitted diseases. And I'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the members? Hearing none, Mr. Secretary, please call a roll on Bill 79-22.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Ayes have it, Bill 79-22 is passed. Thank you, Mr. Richards. Next bill, Mr. Secretary.
Next, Mr. Chairman and members of the council, is Bill 80-22, Current Expense Budget Homeless Solutions Program.
Thank you, Mr. Hickey. How are you, sir?
I'm great. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the council. Officially my first live council meeting, at least providing testimony. So glad to be here tonight. It's been
Good.
3 years. I'm here today to present on behalf of the administration, Bill 80-22, requesting county council approval of a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $81,867 from the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development. Baltimore County DHCD has been allocated this additional funding pursuant to an amendment to our grant agreement between the county and state, authorizing additional funding from the state's Homeless Solutions Program grant. The purpose of this new funding is to allow the county to provide emergency housing-related services such as navigation and rental assistance to Afghan refugees who are referred to the county by designated refugee service providers who may not have their own funding to resolve these housing issues. The funding is restricted to this specific purpose only and was awarded so that the county does not need to, in the case these situations arise, spend existing homeless services funds. So with that, I'll pause and happy to entertain any questions.
Any questions or comments? Understand there is an amendment.
There is a
Mr.
technical.
Secretary?
Yes, sir. There is a technical amendment. It's really just to change, really slightly alter the title of the bill and a reference to the title in on page 2 of the bill. It strikes MDDHCD-HSP-Homeless Solutions Program and substitutes Homeless Solutions Program HSP and then in parentheses state DHCD.
Okay. Sounds like an important amendment. It's a joke. Are there any questions or comments on the amendment? Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on the amendment.
Is there a
No, is there a motion to approve the amendment? I'll
So
make the
moved.
motion. It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on the amendment.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Ayes have it. The amendment to Bill 80-22 has passed. Are there any additional questions or comments on Bill 80-22 as amended? Okay, is there a motion to approve Bill 80-22 as
So
amended?
moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second? Second? It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 80-22 as amended.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Bill 80-22 as amended is passed. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please. Thank you very much, Mr. Hickey.
Next, Mr. Chairman, is Bill 81-22, Current Expense Budget Workforce Solutions to Address Homelessness.
Okay, Mr. Leonard Howie. How are you, sir? Good.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. Leonard Howie, Director, Department of Economic Workforce Development. This is Bill 81-22, in which the administration is requesting a supplemental appropriation of federal funds totaling $200,000 to the Workforce Solutions to Address Homelessness Gifts and Grants Fund program. The funds, which are for a 3-year period, will be used primarily for the salary and benefits of one new part-time Homeless Services Career Consultant to assist individuals experiencing or in danger of experiencing homelessness with obtaining job skills and finding employment. The department estimates that 75 individuals will be served over this 3-year period. Happy to address any questions.
Any questions or comments from the members? Hearing none. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 81-22.
Mr. Jones,
Aye.
Mr. Ortel,
Aye.
Mr. Crandall,
Aye.
Mr. Young,
Aye.
Mr. Patoka,
aye,
Mr. Catch.
Aye.
Mr. Marks.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Bill 81-22 is passed. Next bill, Mr. Secretary.
Next, Mr. Chairman, is Bill 82-22, Current Expense Budget, Senior Information and Assistance.
Ms. Laura Raleigh. How are you, Ms. Raleigh?
Good evening.
Good,
Very nice
good.
to see all of you in person.
It's been a while.
It has. The administration is requesting a supplemental appropriation of state funds totaling $92,970 to the Senior Information and Assistance Gifts and Grants Fund program to increase the amount originally appropriated from the state grant award. The funds will be used to support the salary and benefits of one full-time human service associate position to provide information and assistance regarding long-term care, options, counseling, benefits assistance, and to assist in our durable medical equipment loan closet. Those services are for seniors and adults with disabilities, families, caregivers, and professionals.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the member? Hearing none, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 82-22.
Mr. Jones,
Aye.
Mr. Crandall,
Aye.
Mr. Young.
Aye.
Mr. Patoka,
aye,
Mr. Catch.
Aye.
Mr. Marks. Mr. Ortel.
Aye. Ayes have it. Bill 82-22 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please. Thank you, Ms. Raleigh.
Next, Mr. Chairman, is Bill 83-22, Current Expense Budget, CLG Grant, Baltimore County Design Guidelines Update.
Okay. Is Mr. Lafferty here? Send it to someone else? Okay, thank you. Hello, Amy, how are you doing? Good evening.
Oh, sorry. Do I need to start over?
No, we're
Okay.
good. Keep going.
The grant will support the cost of hiring a consultant to assist the Department of Planning's Preservation Services staff update to the Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, which were last updated in 2010. The update to the guidelines will address recurring issues that come up in the Landmarks Preservation Commission meetings, specifically adding a section about non-contributing resources in the county's 17 historic districts. In addition, other updates will include making the document more user-friendly with fewer long paragraphs and include more illustrations and photographs, include an improved materials list, and provide additional information regarding installation of solar panels as well as historic signs. The updated guidelines will also provide a resource for the Landmarks Preservation Commission to use in decision-making and for the department to use when reviewing alterations to any historic structures or properties. The grant period is for May 2nd, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. No county matching funds are required. I'm happy to address any questions, and Ms. Caitlin Merritt from our Historic Preservation Services Division is here as well.
Okay, are there any questions or comments from the members? Hearing none, Mr. Secretary, I understand there is an amendment to Bill 83-22.
There is, Mr. Chairman. It is also a technical amendment. It just clarifies that the source of funding is federal funds as opposed to state funds as stated in the bill.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the amendment to Bill 83-22?
so moved.
second,
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on the amendment to Bill 83-22.
Mr. Jones,
Aye.
Mr. Crandall,
Aye.
Mr. Young,
Aye.
Mr. Patoka,
Aye.
Mr. Catch.
Aye.
Mr. Marks.
Aye.
Mr. Ertel.
Aye.
The ayes have it. The amendment to Bill 83-22 is passed. Are there any additional questions or comments from the members? Is there a motion to approve Bill 83-22 as amended? Been moved.
Motion. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 83-22 as amended.
Mr. Jones,
Aye.
Mr. Young,
Aye.
Mr. Patoka,
Aye.
Mr. Catch.
Aye.
Mr. Marks.
Aye.
Mr. Ertel,
Aye.
Mr. Crandall.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Bill 83-22 as amended is passed. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Next, Mr. Chairman, is Bill 84-22, entitled The Comprehensive Zoning Map Process.
Okay. Amy, you'll take this as well? Go right ahead.
That's correct. This bill is for an adjustment to the CZMP Planning Board public hearing schedule and the timing of the staff recommendation to the Planning Board. In the current CZMP process, after petitions for rezoning are filed in September, October, and November, our planning team works with other agencies and the administration to develop the staff recommendation. That recommendation is noted on the log of issues, which currently is published in February, which is prior to the Planning Board public hearings, which are held in March. The proposed change in this bill would adjust the timing of the Planning Board public hearings so the hearings take place first in February. Then the staff recommendation would be published in the log of issues in March, thus allowing staff the benefit of public input in the formulation of our recommendation. Planning Board would issue their recommendation in April as usual. I'm happy to address any questions.
Any questions or comments from the members?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, go right ahead.
I
Councilman
just
Chair.
want to express my strong support for this particular piece of legislation. I just think it's so important that the public be involved in decisions like this early on. And, you know, I know that the staff of planning, when they're making their recommendations, will benefit from the public input. And I enthusiastically support this particular bill.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, Councilman Catch, any additional questions or comments? Councilman
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Marks? Well, Councilman Marks first. Councilman Patoka?
Sure.
Just for the record, I did get favorable support from the Perry Hall Improvement Association and the Essex Middle River Civic Councils, those are the two largest organizations in the Fifth District.
Thank you. Who is Councilman Patoka?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple of questions. We'll be starting the CZMP in August of 2023, correct, Amy?
Yes.
When will the master plan be complete, the comprehensive plan?
The master plan is currently with the county executive for his comments. It still needs to go back out to the public and then to the planning board. And then after that, it would go to county council. So I can't predict the timeline, but those are the next steps. It is our hope that it would be through planning board and hopefully county council by the time CZMP starts on September 1st.
Yes, that would be helpful. It's a great tool as we review the CZMP, the petitions that come in for zoning reclassification. We turned and had a pretty robust discussion during work session on this. You know, for some of us, we found the land use exercise that planners go through as a useful tool in our evaluation. And we discussed it somewhat at the meeting and also talked to Director Lafferty about it. And I think there's an amendment to this, correct, Mr. Secretary?
That is correct, sir.
But in any case, one of the things that we had discussed was having that tool based on best planning practices. And I think the amendment is going to address that. I, like Councilman Marks, talked to, I think when you said the president of the Perry Hall Improvement Association, I think it was a former planning director and also deputy secretary planning, Pat Keller. I had a similar discussion with Pat, also with Jeff Mayhew, who I think many of you know, who was acting planning director or interim planning director and deputy director for many years. And I think that the amendment will address the planning aspect, the land use policy aspect of the analysis that the planners use in their presentation to the planning board, absent of an actual recommendation. And I think it's the planning department's desire to add to their analysis what they're hearing in the community. And we had a significant amount of discussion about that. I think I'll just stop there and just wait for the amendment to come forward to address some of the concerns we have.
Well, while we're here, why don't we just put the amendment on the table right now? Mr. Secretary, why don't you read the amendment?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. The amendment would change the term in the bill information report. It would change that nomenclature to a staff analysis report, and that language was actually arrived at in consultation with Director Lafferty. The amendment would further state that the staff analysis report shall include the planning department's assessment of the proposed zoning regulations or zoning map based on best planning practices as recognized by the American Planning Association. And further, the amendment would clarify or confirm, rather, that during the period of public notice, the Director of Planning shall make the staff analysis report of the Planning Board and the accompanying maps and exhibits available for public inspection in the Department of Planning, and that the amendment would say, and that the staff analysis report shall also be posted on the county's website. Thank you.
Okay, are there any questions or comments on the amendment?
Mr. Chair, just want to add that I thought it was important to codify the best planning practices and also that the information will be online. The planning department historically and last cycle, I thought did a good job. I think did a good job in terms of putting information related to zoning applications and petitions and the information related to it. I just thought it was important to actually be part of the bill. If we're gonna change the sequence of the CZMP, then we ought to make sure that the bill is stronger in terms of how we review it and how we make the public aware of the analysis as well as the log of issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Patoka.
I move the amendment.
There's been a movement on the amendment. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the amendment to Bill 84-22.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye. The ayes have it. The amendment to Bill 84-22 has passed. Are there any questions or comments on the bill as amended? I will, I'll weigh in and take a contrary position. Number one, to be extremely clear, I value the community's input. I think the input is extremely important. And I think the community has ample opportunity to weigh in on these issues. And if I could just be so kind as to remind everyone about the process. And this is the process, the way it's been for probably the last 40 or 50 years. Planning department professionals make a recommendation after someone submits an issue. Unencumbered by public input, they use their skill, judgment, education, background, all the credentials they have to make a judgment. Then the public weighs in, then the planning board makes a recommendation. And then the county council will have hearings for the public to weigh in. And then the county council, who's the customer here, the county council, the ones who make the final decision, based on all the information they have, the planning staff, professionals, unencumbered by the public, the planning board, where the public weighs in, we have public hearings, and then we make a decision. I think by bringing the public in sooner, it takes away from the independence and the professionalism of the planning staff. In other words, if I were to go to a lawyer and say, is this legal? Can we do this? Yes or not? I would hope that he or she would give me their opinion based on their expertise and their training, background, and experience, and not say, let me hear from the public first. I think it sort of takes away from the independence that we would expect when we're making a decision. But that is okay. I'm not here to somehow, if you guys want to do this, if you think this is best, I disagree. But I'm not going to stand here and suggest that my way is the only way, even though we've done it this way for 50 years. Any additional questions or comments? All right. Mr. Secretary, please call. No, is there a motion to approve
So
the bill
moved.
as amended?
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 84-22 as amended. Aye.
Mr. Jones,
Aye.
Mr. Catch,
Aye.
Mr. Marks,
Aye.
Mr. Ertel,
Aye.
Mr. Crandall,
Aye.
Mr. Patoka,
Aye.
Mr. Young.
Aye.
Ayes have it, Bill 84-22 is passed. I voted in favor because I'm going to go out on a limb and hope and pray that I will still get a professional opinion from the planning board, from the planning staff, and that at the end of the day, their professionalism is what will cause that will weigh more in their recommendation than people who weigh in. Mr. Secretary, next bill, please.
Next, Mr. Chairman, is Bill 85-22, membership requirements for the Administrative Charging Committee.
Okay, Ms. Rogers.
Actually, Mr. Chair, Mr. Benjamin is going
Oh.
to give the follow-up today.
Mr. Benjamin, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good.
How are you, sir? Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the council. Happy holidays.
Yeah.
Bill 85, Bill number 85-22 simply seeks to incorporate COMAR regulations 12.04.09.04D through F and follow them. At the time that Bill 24-22 was passed, this was earlier this year, the proposed Administrative Charge Committee membership requirements that were to be adopted by the Maryland Police Training and Standards Commission, that's the MPTSC, and included in COMAR were not discretionary. And the thought was that when the MPTSC eventually adopted membership requirements, they would be required. However, after Bill 24-22 was passed, the Administrative Charging Committee membership requirements that were ultimately adopted by MPTSC and are found in 12.04.09.04D through F were made to be discretionary. So as a result, Bill 85-22 seeks to adopt these COMAR regs, and the bill would make these Administrative Charging Committee requirements mandatory rather than discretionary. And that's why Bill 85-22 has been characterized by the administration as a technical amendment. Now, I know that there have been some comments and concerns raised as far as whether or not there's a preemption issue here, and I want to raise or discuss that issue briefly. As I see it, there is no preemption issue here. That doctrine may apply when a local ordinance conflicts with the state law. Here, I don't believe there's a conflict between Bill 85-22 and Public Safety Article, this is a state code, Public Safety Article 3-104, because in 3-104, the state legislature didn't set forth specific personal requirements for members of the Administrative Charging Committee. Instead, it left that to be addressed in the regulations in COMAR, which I had just discussed. So a list of these personal requirements for membership appears in 12.04.09.04 D through F. They're permissive or discretionary, and Bill 85-22 simply adopts them, and in doing so makes them mandatory. So I hope that has allayed any confusion. We're here to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the members? Hearing none, I know we received quite a bit of emails, basically to just sort of remind people that we I don't know how long ago, was it 6 months ago? You just went through, was it 6 months ago?
About in May.
Right, sir.
Over the summer.
When we made this legislation and we heard from a lot of groups, and a lot of groups had a lot of different points of view, and we heard everything, we waited, we came down on a position, and now it seems like some people want us to, I guess, take another bite at the apple in some of their replies, but I think the correct course of action is what we're doing, which is cleaning up what's required by the state.
Yes, sir.
We'll see how things work out. Oh, any questions or comments from the members? All right, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Bill 85-22.
Mr. Jones,
Aye?
Mr. Young,
Aye.
Mr. Ertel,
Aye.
Mr. Patoka,
Aye.
Mr. Catch,
Aye.
Mr. Marks,
Aye.
Mr. Crandall.
Aye.
Ayes have it, Bill 85-22 is passed.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Benjamin. We will now consider, the council will consider all fiscal matters. Extensive testimony was taken at the council's work session on December the 13th. The witnesses who testified at the work session is available to restate their testimony if needed. I'll now call upon the secretary to read the cover letter for fiscal matters 1 through 9.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Fiscal Matter 1 is a contract with Mariner Marketing Communications Incorporated. Fiscal Matter 2 is 2 contracts for rat eradication. Fiscal Matter 3 is a purchase order with Raftellus Financial Consultants Incorporated. Fiscal Matter 4 is an amendment to a contract with Waste Management of Maryland Incorporated. Fiscal Matter 5 is a contract with ASB 2 Enterprises Incorporated. Fiscal Matter 6 is a purchase order with Itron Incorporated. Fiscal Matter 7 is a contract with R.L. Johnson Asphalt Paving and Seal Coating Incorporated. Fiscal Matter 8 is amendment number 2 to a contract with BFI Waste Services LLC. And Fiscal Matter 9 is a purchase order with Robert Half International Incorporated.
Are there any questions or comments from the members on fiscal matters 1 through 9? Hearing none?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Councilman Katz?
Yeah, I just have a question about item 5 and the solution that's being used for snow removal and de-icing services. I assume that it's salt-based. Would that be a true statement?
I don't, Ms. Walker, do you have any idea? I believe Well, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Is this the pre-icing solution we're talking about? Pre-salt solution?
It is salt. My only question is, and comment is, we're having a lot of problems in the county with, wells being polluted by salt that the state and the county applies on the roads. And what I'm wondering is the county looking at other options? Are there other options out there for us to use, especially in areas that are served by wells?
We just added some additional brining trucks to our fleet to kind of cut back on the salt that we're using. And we have also added some equipment on our trucks so that we can use a limited amount of salt on the roads. So we are looking at other options that are environmentally safe.
Thank you, Ms. Walker. Any additional questions or comments?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Yes, sir. On item number 2, rat eradication, I just want to express my thanks to Director Gutwald, PAI, and the administration for continuing this program. I've said many times from this dais how many complaints that our office received with just simply on rat infestation in some of our neighborhoods in the 7th District. And action was taken, and this is a government program that is working, and I think that it is it's a good quality of life investment that the county is continuing to make, and I appreciate the willingness to keep the program going and to even in some ways, I think, try to make it even better each year by year. So just wanted to express my thoughts on that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Crandall. I share your thoughts as well. I remember when we were inundated by citizens who came here with their, was it neon green shirts?
Yeah.
But no rat on the front. And they came in and they had these horrific stories about rats in their community. And I was so proud that as a result of that, we literally tripled our efforts in those communities in terms of taking care of that problem. We started off, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but everything from education to enforcement to rat eradication by different companies. And like I said, we tripled that effort. And then as a result, we end up going around different parts of the county who also had problems. And we were able to do that. So that's a good example of what happens when people come here to the county council with their concerns. And I'm always reminded that in all of government, the 3 branches of government, at the federal, state, and the local level, it is only here that you can come and petition your government without any appointment. Any day that we have a council meeting, you can sign up to speak for 3 minutes, which these people did. It was not on our agenda. They came, they signed up, they spoke, they received action. And we have a long history of doing that when people show up here with problems. But only at the local level can people do that. So I'm very proud of what we do here in Baltimore County at the local level. Any additional questions or comments?
I too want to applaud the nimbleness of this program. Whenever I call Adam Whitlock, he responds. We have a number of neighborhoods that are certainly targeted, but these are not in isolation. Places like 7 Courts and Silver Spring Road corridor have increasing rat problems, and they are always there to help. So I want to thank them for their efforts.
Sure. Any additional questions or comments on fiscal matters 1 through 9? Hearing none. Is there a motion to approve?
So
Fiscal-
moved.
It's been moved. It's been seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call a roll on fiscal matters 1 through 9.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Okay, fiscal matters 1 through 9 is approved. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Mr. Chairman, whenever a contract over $25,000 is awarded by a process other than formal competitive bid, it is required that a copy of the contract be given to the county council and the nature and parties to the contract be announced by the secretary at the next legislative session following award. There is one such agreement this evening. That is a purchase order with Demari Inflatable Boats Incorporated. This is for the purchase of an inflatable rescue boat, rescue sled, and associated equipment through Demari Inflatable Boats Incorporated in the amount of $62,645. And that is the only one this evening.
And that's for the fire department.
Yes.
The boat and equipment. So, thank you. Next item, Mr. Secretary.
Next, Mr. Chairman, is Resolution 48-22. This is a resolution for the county council to approve the Baltimore County Water Supply and Sewerage Plan Amendment Cycle 40.
Ms. DeAndre Walker.
Good afternoon, Chairman and members of the council. The administration is seeking approval for Resolution 4822, which amends the Baltimore County Water Supply and Sewerage Plan, Cycle 40. These amendments are made annually and on an emergency basis in accordance with the executive orders of April 11th, 1990, July 22nd, 2003, August 28th, 2009. On July 21st, the planning board held an advertised public hearing on the request for the amendments to the plan and reported the results of the hearing to the county executive. It should also be noted that Department of Environmental Protection and Sustainability, as well as Department of Public Works and Transportation and the planning office, all provided comments associated with these items as well. And the planning board reviewed the request and offered recommendations. The planning board's approval occurred on September 1st. The county executive reviewed the proposed amendments, and hence we have now submitted them to you all for approval. There are 5 amendments, 5 items for approval today, and I'll take any questions that you may have.
Any questions or comments from the members?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Councilman Katz?
I just want to thank your office for calling me to set up an appointment to talk about the expanding public water. I appreciate it. We'll make the appointment.
Okay, great.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if I may, I just want to thank Director Walker for putting together a meeting with me and my staff and with maybe 8 members of her staff. Just maybe it wasn't that many. That
Did
might
you
be-
bring the 8 members of your staff with you?
No. I expected a one-on-one with Director Walker, and I think there were, I don't know, 5 or 6 people there, just to answer my questions. And it was a quick meeting, but a thorough meeting in which I was able to gain a full understanding of what the impact that this resolution would have in my district. So I just wanted to acknowledge her
Thank you.
and her staff.
Is there an amendment, Mr. Secretary?
There is, Mr. Chairman. I don't know if Mr. Marks wants to speak to it first before I get into the technical aspects.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mr. Bostwick, Mr. Chairman. 3 of these properties are in the 5th Council District. The 5th one at 6259 Days Cove Road would provide public water to the Eastern Sanitary Landfill. I don't oppose this. I consulted with the community association in that area, and there doesn't seem to be any problems with that one. I am going to offer an amendment to strike the 2nd and 3rd properties. So the former CP Crane plant is a 157-acre property located near Seneca Park and Bowley's Quarters on Baltimore County's east side. The plant was in operation from 1961 to 2018, and you all may have seen the implosion of the twin towers last August. Since that time, there has been very robust discussions between the property owner and the community associations regarding the future of this property. Both parties seem to agree that there should be a substantial amount of green space provided here. There's a real mouth-watering prospect of linking this property all the way up to the Hammerman area of Gunpowder Falls State Park. And I think that dialogue is going to continue. In my opinion, however, the Baltimore County Planning Board acted prematurely in recommending the extension of public water. There was no local support for this action, and I would respectfully request that we strike those two properties until we're able to come to a level of consensus between all the parties.
Okay. Any questions or comments on the amendment? Is there a motion to approve the amendment?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on the amendment to Resolution 48-22.
Mr. Jones,
Aye.
Mr. Marks,
Aye.
Mr. Crandall,
Aye.
Mr. Young,
Aye.
Mr. Patoka,
Aye.
Mr. Marks.
Aye.
I'm sorry, I already said Mr. Marks. Mr. Ertel
I can vote twice.
Aye.
and Mr. Catch.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Thank you.
The amendment to Resolution 48-22 is passed.
And if I may, Mr. Chairman, I would just clarify, so the amendment would not include in the resolution, item 1, which is Todd's inheritance, and item 3, which is the Rocky Point Golf Course, and item 4, which is, as Mr. Marks indicated, Eastern Sanitary Landfill. It would only pertain to the removal of item 2, which is the 1021 Carroll Island Road property, which consists of several parcels.
No, it's two and 3 that would be omitted. It's 1, 4, and 5 would stay.
On the resolution, number 2 encompasses both of those.
Okay, I'm looking at the notes. Okay,
Yes, sir.
that's fine. So both Carroll Island Road properties are stricken.
Correct,
Okay.
and they are item number 2 on the resolution.
Okay, I was looking at the notes. Thank you.
It's one item, but consists of both of those.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Are there any additional questions or comments on Resolution 48-22 as amended? Is there a motion to approve Resolution 48-22 as amended?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Resolution 48-22 as amended.
Mr. Jones,
Aye.
Mr. Marks,
Aye.
Mr. Ertel,
Aye.
Mr. Crandall,
Aye.
Mr. Young,
Aye.
Mr. Patoka,
Aye.
Mr. Catch.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Resolution 48-22 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Next, Mr. Chairman, is Resolution 49-22. This is a resolution to adopt the Daniels Sharp Smart Medical Waste Facility Amendment as part of the Baltimore County Solid Waste Management Plan.
Okay, Ms. Walker?
Yes, sir. We have Resolution 4922 for approval and adoption to the amendment to the Baltimore County Solid Waste Management Plan for Daniels Sharp Smart Medical Waste Facility. The Code of Maryland Regulations requires that the county include this language in our 10-year solid waste management plan regarding any installation or extension of a solid waste acceptance facility or disposal system. Daniels Sharp Smart plans to open a privately financed transportation, processing, and treatment facility for the disposal of medical waste in Rosedale. They will also warehouse and distribute reusable containers to the healthcare facilities, and reusable containers will be processed through the operation and cleaned and ultimately redistributed back to healthcare facilities. All of the medical waste will be treated on-site, and treatment material will then be transported to an off-site permanent landfill. The planning board held a public hearing on the amendment September 1st, 2022, and the board approved the amendment on September 15, 2022. I'll take any questions that you may have.
Any questions or comments?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Thank you. Director Walker, this question I'm going to ask you may seem a little silly, but I did get an email from a constituent asking if I supported putting medical waste into the Chesapeake Bay. My answer was a pretty quick no, that I would not support that. But with the problems with the Back River wastewater treatment plant that you're well aware of, and Director Likens is here, he's well aware of, would this facility be distributing anything other than normal wastewater that would come out of a bathroom or a sink in a lunchroom or something like that?
No, sir.
Okay, so no medical waste being pumped through to Back River wastewater treatment plant.
No, sir. It goes to a private approved MDE landfill.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any additional questions or comments? Okay. Is there a motion to approve Resolution 49-22?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on Resolution 49-22.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
All right.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Resolution 49-22 is passed. Mr. Secretary, next item, please.
Next, Mr. Chairman, is Resolution 50-22, Baltimore County's financial, this is a resolution for the council to approve Baltimore County's financial assurance plan as part of the Watershed Protection and Restoration Program.
Yes, Mr. David Likens. Thank you, Ms. Walker. Director Likens, how are you doing? Good evening.
Good evening, Chairman Jones and members of the council. The administration requests your assistance with Resolution 50-22, which is for the Baltimore County Financial Assurance Plan. Baltimore County is required to submit a biannual, every 2-year financial assurance plan under the Watershed Protection and Restoration Program that was passed by the state legislature. You'll recall this is when Governor Hogan first came in. The so-called rain tax, the requirement was placed on the county when the requirement to change we officially called the stormwater remediation fee was lifted. The state wanted to make sure that we were spending enough money on our MS4 program, even though we were one of the only counties that did lift our stormwater remediation fee. In this financial assurance plan, we need to show all the actions that we're doing to meet the MS4 permit requirements. Over the next 5 years, they want to see everything that we've done in the past. There's several appendices attached to this document that show many, many thousands of actions that we've taken over the years. The county council needs to hold a public hearing, which we held at the work session. County council needs to also vote and pass this, and then it needs to be signed by either the county executive or the county administrative officer, and we need to return it to MDE by December 31st of this year.
Thank you, sir. Any questions or comments from the members?
Just a comment, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, go right ahead, Councilman Patoka.
Sure. So this is an interesting, the use of the term rain tax is an example of, it's related to one of our fiscal matters, how branding actually works. Because 8 years ago, when Governor Hogan was running for office, he rebranded a stormwater mitigation fee to call it the rain tax and suggested that the more it rained, the greater a family may be taxed. And I think it was branding that was used to address a really serious issue of how do we control the velocity of flow of stormwater and how do we filter it. But I just wanted to relate this to the fiscal matter, because even 8 years later, after a campaign tactic, it's still, that branding worked, because it's still referred to as the the term that was used as a campaign tactic rather than actual fact. Just wanted to point that out. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Patoka. Any additional questions or comment?
Mr. Chair?
Yes,
Sure. I just want to go back to the year that we repealed the stormwater remediation fee in Baltimore County, and it was not done necessarily out of political expediency. It was a bipartisan vote, if I recall. I believe it was a 7-0 vote to repeal the fee. And it was determined through our auditor's office and OBF and DEPS that we could pay for the requirements to keep ourselves in good line with the MS4 permits within our own budget. It was not a decision that was taken lightly or without analysis. So I just wanted to let Mr. Patoka know, because he wasn't on that council and may not have been paying so much attention to the deliberations that we had in order to repeal this fee. I just wanted to make that clear. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
thank you. And just to be clear, for those that may be watching and may not know, the stormwater remediation fee put a fee on everyone, every citizen who paid taxes, every property, every residential property. What was it, 20 or 25 bucks?
I believe it was in the 30 range.
In the 30 range. And everybody who had like a parking lot.
Residential properties were held to a set fee, and businesses were held to a fee depending upon the number of square feet of impervious surface that they had.
Right. And we had, there was all sorts of things going around in terms of how they would filter that water and what the charges were. But the fees were much more onerous on residential properties, if I'm correct. I mean, not residential, I mean,
Businesses,
commercial.
Absolutely, commercial,
Yeah,
correct.
yeah.
I believe we were at one point collecting about $35 million a year. I think about 16 of that was from residential properties.
Right. And I think that was real onerous on a lot of commercial properties. And people were not happy with it, even though they were paying $30 in terms of residences. But anyway, that's history, and here we are now. And any additional questions or comments?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
And Mr. Crandall and others, I'm not, my comment was not to judge the decision of the council or to be negative towards the council, but only to relate how branding can work. Since we had branding as an item today, and we know it, as we talked during the work session, it works for the state of Virginia, but I'm not making judgment of the deliberations, the professional deliberations that took place with this council. And just in reference to the branding and how it works. So to be clear, not an attack on my colleagues here.
Well, I'm just going to add this. Your point is well taken, Councilman Patoka. The branding was excellent. But the fees that the small businesses had to pay was real. 35 million altogether between the residents and the small businesses. So yes, the branding was perfect, brain tax. But the reason it became so perfect is because the fees that people were paying were real. That had nothing to do with the brand. That had to do with, hey, you guys trying to put me out of business. And we heard it all over. And we, for whatever reason, we got enough stuff going on today. We don't need to go back down memory lane. I'm sure we may get there sooner or later anyway. But any additional questions or comments? None? Let me see, is there a motion to approve resolution 50-22?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been seconded. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll on resolution 50-22.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Marks?
Aye.
Mr. Young?
Aye.
Mr. Patoka?
Aye.
Mr. Ertel?
Aye.
Mr. Crandall?
Aye.
Mr. Catch?
Aye.
The ayes have it, resolution 50-22 is passed. Mr. Secretary, is there any further business to come before the council?
There is no further business, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it, the meeting is adjourned. Chris, are there any speakers this evening?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have 2 speakers this evening. Both are on virtually.
Okay, as a reminder to everyone, you always have a right to address the council at the end of every meeting. All you need to do is sign up in advance. And this is a perfect example where people will have the right to come here and testify, or they could do it virtually. And so we have 2 speakers that are online. Ms. Belcastro, take it away.
Certainly, Mr. Chair. Our first speaker is on by telephone, so I'm going to have to use my microphone so that they can hear. Hopefully, it won't give us a lot of feedback. Our first speaker is Nancy Berger.
Good evening. Am I on microphone?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
I'm thankful for that. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the council. I actually want to speak very briefly about my passion, which is the bags that are made out of plastic. I dislike them because they are made of fracking gas or oil, and that uses clean water. I dislike them because they litter our streets and our oceans. We are losing money in picking up the litter and fish because they swallow the plastic. I absolutely think Maryland is doing great with Montgomery County in that with their 5% tax on plastic, there are over 60% of the shoppers are now bringing reusable bags. So I believe that Baltimore County should place a tax on bags as well. I think we should not use plastic bags and therefore use paper bags if necessary. But the supermarkets can advertise themselves in their reusable bags, which I have been using as a consumer. And I think that is an advertisement for the supermarket. So I hope you are looking at the number of plastic bags that people use and thinking about reusable bags in the future. If we place a 5-cent or 10-cent tax on these bags, consumers will change. Just like we go to the lowest price for oil for our car. So that is absolutely all I'd like to say. It will help Mother Nature and save us money, actually.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Berger. We certainly appreciate your call and your comments.
Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Belcastro, next speaker, please.
Certainly, Mr. Chair. Our next speaker is Beth Jarrett.
Hi, I'm taking myself off of mute. Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can.
Okay, great. I'm actually going to be speaking on the same topic. So, good evening, council members. I'm going to start with just a couple statistics. We use 100 billion plastic bags in the US every year. and about 50 to 80 million plastic bags end up as litter each year. So some of the literature that I've read through is saying that about 95% of consumers shopping here in Baltimore County will bring a reusable bag if the store charges for bags. And I know from personal experience, because several stores in my neighborhood, Mom's Organic Market and also Wegmans, have already instilled the plastic bag ban. And when Wegmans first started their plastic bag ban, I had a friend who was particularly upset about this new policy. She was so upset, she was threatening to not shop at Wegmans anymore. And I hadn't heard her talk about it in a couple of months. So I caught up with her this weekend and asked her what her current feelings were. And things had changed quite considerably. She did admit that she had a real tough time in the beginning remembering to bring her reusable bag with her. But now that she's been doing it for a couple of months, she realized that she actually started to like it for several reasons. First, she said she likes being able to fit more items in each bag, and she doesn't have to ever worry about her bags breaking. And second of all, she liked being able to bring an insulated bag for her refrigerated and freezer items. So I'm just going to end with a quote from Eric Goldstein, the NRDC senior attorney, who said that from Seattle to Dublin and from Paris to Washington, D.C., there have been similar kinds of statutes enacted. And after an adjustment period, habits change, people carry reusables, streets are cleaner, pollution is reduced, and businesses are doing just fine. There are inevitable startup challenges, and it takes a little bit of time for people to get acclimated to a new system. But ultimately, it's making a small change in people's habits that can make a big difference in reducing our plastic consumption. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your call, Ms. Jarrett. We certainly appreciate your comments and thank you for sharing them with us. Are there any additional speakers, Ms. Belcastro?
No, Mr. Chair, there is not.
Thank you. Any additional questions, comments? Other than that, we will be adjourned. Oh, thank you.
Mr.
We wish
Chair.
everybody a happy holiday, whatever you celebrate. I hope you do it safely and responsibly with your family, and we wish you all nothing but the very best. So may God continue to bless each and every one of you. And thanks for tuning in and being a part of this wonderful experience here in Baltimore County.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
accommodating
Thank you.
My technical needs today.